Let's look more at how these cookies are represented and how they work. When Alice logs into some website from her laptop to a website that's hosted on the server, then that has to go through HTTP. We've often looked at HTTP requests starting with GET, but POST is an alternative, and it's typically the one that's used when you're typing into a form here, because that just means that there's some extra data after the header of the request that is used by the server depending on what kind of web page or request you visit. So here I am asking the server login and providing data about the user and the password and some other information. The server, after checking the password, or hopefully more precisely hashing the password and comparing that to a recorded hash of passwords, will authenticate Alice and send back a response that has maybe some welcome text in the page, but in the header there's going to be a special header called setCookie. This is special in the sense that the browser, when it receives that web page back, recognizes it, and it's going to remember in some table living in the web browser, probably in some cache that it keeps on disk, a mapping from this particular website that Alice authenticated to, msdapp.cs.utah in this case. It's going to remember this key value mapping that was provided in the setCookie header. This setCookie header also says secure, meaning that the browser should treat it as something that is part of an authentication to the web page and should try to use it in secure ways. So this response web page is going to be rendered by Alice's browser, and maybe it has some button or clickable item on it that will send a new request to the server. When that new request is sent, because it's going to the same host, and because the browser has remembered that that particular host has this cookie here, that cookie will be put back into the message that is sent to the server. Keep in mind that these messages should be in TLS, so they will be encrypted. Everyone else cannot see this cookie. It's part of the encrypted message. But what it tells the server is that this is part of a continuing conversation with Alice, who has previously authenticated, and this token represents the capabilities that Alice has. So the server will allow Alice to fetch information from a database, say, that Alice is supposed to have access to. If you've ever gone into your browser to clear the cookies, and maybe cleared them for a specific website, this is the mapping that you are erasing. And so that's why after you clear the cookies, it's as if you had never logged in before and you have to log in afresh or whatever. Cookies are not just used for login, they're used for all sorts of things where users are tracked. Sometimes things you want and sometimes things you don't want. And that's one of the reasons that cookies can be cleared.